guys, welcome to Academy of Earth Sciences. This is Akansha and you're watching the first video in the GATE Previous Year Solution series, and in this video we will be starting with the first paper, which is the GATE 2023 paper. So without any further ado, let's get started. Begin with the first question of the comment section. Which one of the following is a chronostratigraphic unit? So chronostratigraphic units basically time के basis पे divide होती है, जिसके अंदर the rocks are correlated with the relative ages. Okay. सबसे पहले we have member. Member is a lithostratigraphic unit. Member basically subdivision है formation का, and formation is the basic stratigraphic unit of lithostratigraphy. Then we have stage. Stage is a biostratigraphic unit. स्टेज के अंदर क्या होता है, किसी भी एक फॉसिल को हम कंसिडर करते हैं और उसको रिलेटिवली हम बाकी रॉक्स की एजेस को कंपेयर करते हैं. ओके. देन वी हैव एक्मे जोन. एक्मे जोन इज अनदर बायोस्ट्रेटिग्राफिक यूनिट. दिस इज अ बिट डिफरेंट फ्रॉम स्टेज. एक्मे जोन के अंदर क्या होता है, हम किसी एक पर्टिकुलर फॉसिल को कंसिडर करते हैं जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा अबंडेंट था किसी पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड में, या तो उसकी अबंडेंस बहुत ज़्यादा थी या फिर उसके अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा डाइवर्सिटी देखने को मिली किसी एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड में, तो उस टाइम पीरियड को हम एक्मे जोन कंसिडर करते हैं. ओके. नेक्स्ट वी हैव पीरियड. पीरियड इज फर्दर डिवाइडेड इनटू इपॉक्स एंड इट इज अ क्रोनोस्टैटिग्राफिक यूनिट. सो बेसिकली पीरियड्स के अंदर रॉक्स आर रिलेटेड बाय देयर रिलेटिव एजेस. सो दिस इज अ chronostratigraphic unit. So the right answer would be option D. On to the next question. During contact metamorphism with increasing temperature. Okay, we have 4 options. हमें बताना है कि कौन सी situation will be right. First we have the ratio of volume to surface area of mineral grains increases. Okay, जैसे जैसे हम higher temperatures पे जाते हैं तो हमारे जो crystals होते हैं they tend to grow larger in size and they have smoother surfaces. सो जैसे जैसे क्रिस्टल का सरफेस बड़ा क्रिस्टल लार्ज क्रिस्टल्स हमें देखने को मिलेंगे, देयर वॉल्यूम विल इंक्रीज. बड़े क्रिस्टल होंगे उनकी वॉल्यूम ज़्यादा होगी एंड देयर सरफेस विल डिक्रीज, क्योंकि जहाँ पे ग्लासेस होते हैं उनका सरफेस ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है, क्योंकि वो फ्लैट होते हैं उनका सरफेस ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है, लेकिन जो क्रिस्टल्स होते हैं उनकी वॉल्यूम ज़्यादा होती है एज कम्पेयर टू देयर सरफेस. सो वॉल्यूम विल इंक्रीज एंड सरफेस विल डिक्रीज. तो रेशो क्या हो जाएगी हमारी, volume upon surface area. Now volume is increasing and surface area will decrease. तो हमारी ratio क्या हो जाएगी, ratio will increase. Okay, so this option is right. Let's see the other options. The ratio of volume to surface area of mineral grains decreases. So this is the exact opposite of the first statement. So we concluded that the first statement is right. So this statement is wrong. Then we have the reaction kinetics becomes slower. Basically temperature जैसे जैसे बढ़ता है हमारा molecules they move या molecules vibrate at a higher velocity at higher rates. तो kinetics किसी भी reaction का temperature increase होने के साथ साथ बढ़ेगा, it will never decrease. Kinetics को decrease करने के लिए हमें temperature को decrease करना होगा. So this option is not right. Then the next option is hydrous minerals become more stable. हाइड्रस मिनरल्स मतलब जिन मिनरल्स के अंदर वाटर है. अब वाटर क्या होगा, जैसे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होगा वाटर विल इवेपोरेट, वाटर विल गेट आउट ऑफ द सिस्टम, तो वाटर वहां पे नहीं प्रेजेंट होगा. दीज मिनरल्स विल बिकम एनहाइड्रस, क्योंकि वाटर एस्केप हो जाएगा एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वहां पे हमें हाइड्रस मिनरल्स नहीं मिलेंगे, वहां पे हमें एनहाइड्रस मिनरल्स मिलेंगे. सो टेम्परेचर जैसे जैसे इंक्रीज होगा हाइड्रस मिनरल्स विल बिकम अनस्टेबल and they will convert to anhydrous minerals. So this option is also wrong. So the correct answer is option A. Moving on to the next question. The dimensions of dynamic viscosity is. Okay, हर साल GATE में you will definitely find a question related to dimensions. So what you can do is revise this dimension thing from the first chapter of class 11th physics NCERT. उस चैप्टर में you will find very detailed explanation of how to calculate the dimensions. Then we have to find the dimension of dynamic viscosity. So dynamic viscosity basically इसका formula क्या होता है, force, basically tangential force multiplied by the distance between the layers of the fluid. represented by x divided by the velocity of the fluid and multiplied by the area of the fluid. ठीक है, this is the formula. Let's put in the units. Force is Newton and the distance is basically in meters, divided by velocity is meter per second and area is meter square. Okay, so let's solve this. We get Newton and meter square. Newton is basically mass, that is kg, into acceleration, which is meter per second square. Okay, so let's solve this. We will get kg upon meter into seconds. Okay, kg is represented by m and it is 1. Then meter is represented by length, which is L, and the units are -1. Then S is representing time, which is again -1. So the answer would be m raised to the power 1, L raised to the power -1, and T raised to the power -1. Let's see which option is that. No. So option B will be the right answer. Basically, what you have to do, you just need to know the formula and then you can easily derive it during the exam. But I would recommend that you revise this chapter from the first chapter of the class 11 physics NCERT. Moving on to the next question. At a depth of about 400 kilometers inside the earth, which of the following occurs? So this 4-kilometer depth is basically found in the upper mantle. So let's see. Conversion of most silicates to perovskite structure. Okay, so this happens inside the mantle, but it happens at very high pressures, which is usually found at depths more than 660 kilometers. So this one is not right. Then we have conversion of plagioclase peridotite to spinel peridotite. Okay, so this transition happens, it again happens in the upper mantle only, but it happens within the 40 to 100 kilometer depth. Okay, then we have transformation of olivine to spinel structure. So this is seen at around 410 kilometers. There is a zone called the transition zone where we can see that olivine is transforming into spinel structure. So this one is right. Then the last option is conversion of spinel peridotite to plagioclase peridotite. Okay, so this is basically kind of the opposite of option B, because plagioclase we will find at lower pressures and spinel we will find at intermediate pressures, and at higher pressures we will find garnet. So basically जो peridotite का sequence होता है, at lower pressures we have plagioclase, at intermediate pressures we have spinel, and at higher pressures we have garnet peridotite. Okay, so there is no place where spinel will change to plagioclase with increasing depth. So this option is also not right. So the right answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question. Equatorial radius of which one of the following planets is closest to that of Earth? So Earth का equatorial radius is 6378.1 kilometers. Okay. Mercury का it is approximately 2400 kilometers. For Venus it is 6051 kilometers. For Mars it is again around 3300 kilometers, and for Neptune it is greater than 2400 kilometers. Okay, so the closest would be Venus. It has 6051 and we have 6378. So Venus is the closest. So option B will be the right answer. Moving on to the next question. Variations of Booger anomaly obtained along a profile after applying all the necessary corrections is due to. Okay, Booger anomaly के अंदर basically क्या होता है? We take free air anomaly, we subtract Booger correction from this, and we add terrain correction to it. Okay, so free air anomaly will account for the undulations in the topography. Basically, if we are going above the datum plane, basically the elevation of the our place, or if the place is below the datum plane. So basically free air anomaly mein we are accounting for the undulations of the topography. So this one is included in the Booger anomaly. So this option is not right. Then we have increase in density of crustal rock with depth. सो बुगर करेक्शन के अंदर हम क्या करते हैं, वी बेसिकली टेक द चेंज इन डेंसिटी फ्रॉम आर रेफरेंस पॉइंट, जो भी हमारा डेटम है या जो भी हमारा एक रेफरेंस पॉइंट है, एंड द एरिया जहाँ पे भी हम वो डेंसिटी मेजर कर रहे हैं. सो उनके बीच में जो डेंसिटी डिफरेंस है दैट इज अकाउंटेड फॉर इन दी बुगर करेक्शन. So this option is also not right. Then we have lateral density variation. We will come to this. Then we have vertical density contrast against MOHO. So again, this is again talking about the density contrast. Density contrast हम कहाँ पे consider करते हैं? Booger correction के अंदर हम density contrast consider करते हैं. So this option is also not right. Then the last option is lateral density variation. अब क्या होगा, इफ वी हैव करेक्टेड फॉर ऑल दीज थिंग्स, यानी कि इफ वी आर एट, सपोज वी आर एट हायर एलिवेशन, सो वी हैव करेक्टेड फॉर यूजिंग द फ्री एयर anomaly. If there is a density difference, we know that as we go in the depth, density will increase. So we have also taken that into account using the Booger correction. We have also taken into account if there is any vertical density contrast across the MOHO discontinuity. So we have taken everything into account. So there is nothing left that could have caused that particular value of gravity. So the correct answer would be lateral density variation. If there is something present there which is increasing the density, अगर वहाँ पे कोई suppose कोई और body present है, so the density will definitely increase in that area. So Booger anomaly is used in basically the exploration purpose. Exploration करने के लिए हम Booger anomaly use करते हैं, हम और bodies find करने के लिए इसको use कर सकते हैं. यानी कि अगर हमने सारे करेक्शंस अप्लाई कर दिए उसके बाद भी वी आर गेटिंग एन एनॉमलस वैल्यू ऑफ ग्रेविटी, दैट मीन्स देयर इज लेटरल डेंसिटी वेरिएशन इन दैट एरिया. सो ऑप्शन सी इज द राइट आंसर. मूविंग ऑन टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 17. द हीट प्रोडक्शन QR ऑफ अ ग्रेनाइटिक रॉक ड्यू टू decay of radioactive elements uranium, thorium and potassium have concentration Cu, Cth and Ck respectively is given by expression, this is the expression, which one of the following correctly represents the relationship between magnitude of coefficients alpha, beta and gamma. Okay, so यहाँ पे you should not get confused कि alpha, beta, gamma are basically talking about the emissions, alpha decay, beta decay और gamma decay. These are basically coefficients. Okay, so let us consider. सबसे पहले we have Cu. So out of all these three, uranium, thorium and potassium, uranium is the most radioactive element and it basically undergoes alpha decay. Alpha decay produces the highest amount of energy out of beta and gamma decay. ठीक है, so alpha decay से सबसे ज़्यादा energy release होगी, so uranium will release the highest energy. So this coefficient of uranium, which is alpha, will be the highest. So first we will have alpha, then we have thorium. Thorium basically undergoes alpha decay as well as beta decay. So alpha decay भी होगा, beta decay भी होगा. So the energy will be a little bit less than uranium, क्योंकि uranium में we are getting purely alpha decay which produces the highest amount of energy. So इसके बाद we will get thorium. Thorium का coefficient is beta, so we are taking beta. Then we have potassium. Potassium basically undergoes gamma decay. Gamma decay produces least amount of heat as compared to alpha and beta decay. So सबसे last में will be the coefficient of potassium. Okay, so the right answer would be option A. Okay, this question may sound or may seem very complicated, but if you think about it, it is a very simple question. Okay, so in exam we don't have to get confused because in GATE exam the questions are relatively easier as compared to the NET exam. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Moving on to question number 18. Which one of the following Phanerozoic periods has the shortest duration of time? Okay, so Cambrian lasted for 56 million years, Devonian for 60 million years, Cretaceous for 78 million years and Silurian for 24 million years. Okay, we have to find the shortest duration. So option D will be the right answer. Moving on to question number 19. Based on the given mineral proportions, which one of the following statements is correct? So हमारे पास we have 3 rocks and we have the mineral proportions. Okay, let's see the options. First option is Y is more felsic compared to X and Z. Okay, let's see Y. Y के अंदर we have 3 felsic minerals. Basically, plagioclase, alkali feldspar, and quartz. All 3 are felsic, and if we add the proportions, it will become 100%. So Y is more felsic. So this option is right. Then X is more felsic compared to Y and Z. So X में we have olivine, orthopyroxene, and cladopyroxene. All these 3 minerals are mafic. So the composition of total felsic mineral would be 0. So X is not more felsic. Instead, it is more mafic. This option is not right. Then we have Z is more felsic compared to X and Y. Let's come to Z. Z के अंदर we have biotite, plagioclase, alkali feldspar, and quartz. So these 3 are felsic, but biotite is mafic, so we will not count the proportion of biotite. So 25 plus 35 plus 20, it will be 80%. Okay, so Z is more felsic compared to X, but not Y. So this option is not right. Then the last option is Y is most felsic and Z is most mafic. Why? This one is 100% mafic, 100% felsic, and Z is 100% mafic. So this option is also correct. So the right answer is option A and option D. So these are multiple select type questions which are very common in the GATE exam. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Moving on to the next question, the correct sequence of electromagnetic radiations in term of increasing wavelength is R. Okay, so this question is basically multiple select type. So let's see. This is our basically electromagnetic wave spectrum. यहाँ पे you can see the wavelength is decreasing to that side. Okay, wavelength is decreasing. So here the EM waves will have lower wavelengths and this side the wavelengths will be higher. Okay, let's keep that in mind and let's solve. First we have gamma ray. So gamma ray is here. It has the lowest wavelength basically. Then we have UV. UV is less than gamma ray, that is right, and near infrared is more than UV. So where is near infrared? Here. You can see this is in the right sequence, we can say. Gamma ray has the lowest, then UV, and then infrared. So this option is right. Then we have X-ray. This is our X-ray, then visible, and then thermal IR. Thermal, infrared basically. So this is also the correct sequence. X-ray has less than visible and visible is less than thermal. So this option is also correct. Then we have microwave. Microwave is less than visible. This option is not right. Microwave is more than visible. So this option is not right. Then we have microwave is less than thermal IR. Again, microwave is more than thermal IR. So this option is also wrong. So the right answer would be option A and B. Moving on to the next question. Which of the given folds are represented by the stereo plot? Okay, इस stereo plot में we can see there is a straight line passing through the center. That means the axial plane is vertical and the fold axis is plotted as a point on the center. That means the fold axis is also vertical. Okay, so let's start. So जो भी हमारा fold है, that should have a vertical axial plane and a vertical fold axis. So let's start. First we have horizontal fold. Horizontal fold basically has a horizontal fold axis. So horizontal fold has fold axis. So this is not right. Then we have vertical fold. So vertical fold में both the axial plane and fold axis are vertical. So this option is right. Then we have upright fold. Upright fold में the axial plane is vertical but the fold axis is not defined. So upright fold के अंदर हमारा fold axis vertical भी हो सकता है, inclined भी हो सकता है और horizontal भी हो सकता है. So that means that this could be a upright fold. So this option is right. Then we have recumbent fold. Recumbent fold में जो हमारा axial plane होता है, it is horizontal. So this option is also not correct. So the right option will be option B and option C. Upright fold का ही एक type we can say vertical fold होता है. So both these options are right. Moving on to the next question, the bulk density of and water content of a soil are 1800 kg per meter cube and 18% respectively. The dry density of the soil calculated from the given information is dash kg per meter cube. Okay, in order to solve this question, we will use this formula. Rho D, basically density of dry soil, is equal to the density of bulk soil divided by 1 plus the water content. Okay, so the dry density would be equal to, bulk density is 1800 divided by 1 plus water content is 18% which is 0.18. किसी भी क्वेश्चन में वाटर कंटेंट या पोरोसिटी इस टाइप की चीज़ें दी हुई हैं, यू शुड नेवर टेक इट इन परसेंटेजेस. उसको हमेशा फ्रैक्शन में या उसको हमेशा डेसिमल्स में यू शुड यूज. ओके, एंड व्हेन वी विल कैलकुलेट दिस इट विल कम 1800 divided by 1.18 which is equal to 1525.42. So the right answer would be 1525.42. Moving on to question number 23. In a seismic reflection survey over a two-layered earth model having densities and seismic velocities ρ1 equal to 2000 kg per meter cube, v1 equal to 1800 meter per second for the first layer and ρ2 equal to 3000 kg per meter cube and v2 is equal to 2100 meter per second for the second layer, the normal incidence P wave reflection coefficient is. Okay, so this P wave reflection coefficient is given by Z2 minus Z1 upon Z2 plus Z1. अब ये Z क्या है? Z is basically the acoustic impedance. So acoustic impedance is given by rho into V. So we multiply the density with the velocity, that gives us the acoustic impedance. So for this second layer, let's calculate the acoustic impedances. Z1 will be equal to ρ1 into V1. ρ1 is 2000 into velocity is 1800. So we will get 36 raised to the power 5. Then for Z2, it is 3000 and 2100. So 3000 is the density and 2100 is the velocity. So it will come 63. Okay, now we have to put it in this formula. So 63 into 10 raised to the power 5 minus 36 into 10 raised to the power 5 divided by 63 into 10 raised to the power 5 plus 36 into 10 raised to the power 5. Okay, so it will be 27 into 10 raised to the power 5 divided by 99 into 10 raised to the power 5. So the answer would be 0.272. So this is the P wave reflection coefficient. Move on to the next question. The resistivity of a rock 100% saturated with water of resistivity 0.25 ohm meter is 60 ohm meter. Assuming tortuosity and cementation exponents to be 1 and 2 respectively, the porosity of the rock is. Okay. इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए वी विल यूज द मॉडिफाइड आर्चीज इक्वेशन. which is given by rho naught, which is the resistivity of rock 100% saturated with water, okay, equal to A, which is the tortuosity exponent, which is the tortuosity, multiplied by rho F, which is the resistivity of the fluid, multiplied by the porosity, which is raised to the power minus m, and m is our cementation exponent. Okay, this is given to us. This is 60 ohm meter. So 60 is equal to, tortuosity is 1 multiplied by the resistivity of the formation fluid, which is 0.25 multiplied by the porosity raised to the power 2. Okay, so let's solve these. 60 divided by 2.5 is equal to 5 raised to the power minus 2. Let's reverse it. 0.25 upon 60 is equal to 5 square. Okay, so let's do the square root of 0.25 divided by 60, which is equal to 5, and which is equal to 0.645. Now we have to find the porosity in percentage. So we will multiply it by 100. So it will come 6.45%. So the answer is 6.45. Question paper में exam के time पे don't forget what are the units in which the question is asking you the answer. अगर यहाँ पे porosity पूछा था simple, तो हम 0.64 लिखते हैं, but it is asking porosity in percentages, so we have to keep that in mind कि किस unit में हमसे answer में पूछा गया. Okay. Moving on to the last question. Let us consider that a student misses cancelling the self potential between potential electrodes before injecting current into the subsurface. In a Wiener electrical resistivity survey using DC resistivity meter over a horizontally stratified earth, in direct and reverse mode of measurement when current flows from C1 to C2 and C2 to C1 respectively with the same magnitude of current flow. The potential difference recorded are 158 millivolts and minus 214 millivolts respectively. The self potential between potential electrodes before injecting current was dash millivolts. Okay, so self potential का जो इफेक्ट है उसको कैंसिल करने के लिए हम बेसिकली क्या करते हैं, हम करंट का जो फ्लो है उसको रिवर्स कर देते हैं. ठीक है, उससे कैंसिल हो जाता है. लेकिन यहाँ पे दैट स्टूडेंट forgot cancelling the self potential. So now we will find that self potential using the average of the two values that are found from, one is found from the direct flow, which is when the current flows from C1 to C2, and the another one is found in the reverse mode when the current is flowing from C2 to C1. Okay, so we will find the averages. So for the direct it is 158 millivolts, and for the reverse it is minus 214 millivolts. We will take the averages of these two. It will be minus 56 upon 2, which is equal to 28, minus 28 millivolt. So this is the right answer. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you have questions and queries, write it down in the comment section below. And if you are new to our channel, I would ask you to consider subscribing to our channel, and don't forget we bring new videos every Wednesday and Friday, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.